Okay, we're going to work on a variation of the spiral hat. I've printed out the pattern, which I don't usually do. I usually just take it off from the, read it off from my phone or my tablet. And I do have to read it every time because you're using 3 different skeins of yarn. The increases are a little bit complicated. It's also complicated by the fact that you leave the last stitch of each color. You don't work in that on that round. Okay. To start, I do a magic circle. You can do whatever you want to start. But with the first color, which is usually the one that I use, that's going to be the bottom band also. And for that, you work a single crochet, a half double crochet, and 3 double crochets. And that's one more. There. And you pull out a big loop, and if you're just starting this, I recommend putting a stitch marker or something into that loop to keep it from coming undone, because you will be manhandling the 3 balls of yarn trying to keep them from becoming tangled, which they will. Okay, make a loop for the next one, and you do exactly the same thing. Pull up your loop there, drop the tail. You can work over that tail along with the other tail, but do not work over your working yarn. Pull it out of the way. Okay? So I chain 1 and then I do my single crochet, half double crochet, and 3 double crochets. And 1 more. And you do the same thing. After you've made a few of those, you can probably work without those, but for demonstration purposes, I will include them. And here's my 3rd color of yarn. All of these are leftovers from other hats I've done. It's summertime here in Michigan right now, and so I make all my chemo hats, summer ones, out of cotton, and I think all 3 of these are Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton. So make my loop, and I usually bring that one out of the way and only carry the one for the magic loop all the way around. Okay, drop it. Everything switched on me. There we go. Drop it, bring it, and start that one over. I don't like the way that loop turned out. I think I might have to twist it. Yeah, that's what I didn't do. Okay. It helps not to let it fall free, but to let it loop over. There. Now I can do it. And okay. Better set them. So there's our single, half double, and 3 double crochets. And 3. Okay, there's one other stitch marker that you're going to need to place on every round, and that is one that indicates the last stitch of color A, is what I think I call it in the pattern. And in order not to mess it up, I don't put it up in there, but down below, just something that tells me that's the final stitch. Okay. Oh, and we can move that one to there. And you will do a lot of wrangling of the various balls of yarn to keep them detangled. Now see how that's trying to, and moving it around, it's trying to come out. Okay, so we're going to bring this one over here, there, there, and there. Okay, it says with A, work 2 double crochets into the single crochet of B color. This is A, B, and C. And you're going to be working your into the single crochet, the half double. You work into these stitches. So and you work 1 double crochet into the half double crochet of B, and 2 into the next double crochet, and 1 into the next double crochet. So the only thing is, since I wrote the pattern, I have taken to using half double crochets rather than double crochets. I like the looks of the hat better. You can do it either way. This is a little faster if you make the double crochets. And I'm also doing a variation. This variation is taken from a new pattern that I've been working with. It's not posted yet. It'll probably be posted before I post this one, both as a video and as a written pattern on a video on YouTube and a written pattern on my Playing with Yarn Facebook page. And that uses what I call a thermal stitch, which I also always do with the half double crochet. And you're alternating front loop and back loop with those stitches. Okay? Now, in one thing I have discovered is it's very difficult to do a back loop and then a front loop. In it's doable, but it's not fun. So what I did in the last hat was I just moved, I made that one a single, not an increase, and I moved the increase over to the next stitch, because it really doesn't matter which stitches you're doing your increase in, just so you have, basically you're doing 1, 2 increases on each one of the colors as you go around. Now if you're doing this hat just normal, you would be going into each stitch, but because I'm going to be doing something different with this hat, it's like I said, a variation. Okay, and now you repeat the same thing with the other colors. And we might as well go ahead and put our marker in the final stitch for this one, just to get it out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to bring this one over, move that out of the way. I'm right-handed. It works better for me if my working ball is on my left. So we're going to do again half double crochets. We'll do the increase in this one and do the one in the front and the one in the back in what I call a thermal stitch. We're going to do it the same as we did with the other. And we'll do the final increase in this one. And there. So we did 2 increases just like the pattern calls for. We'll pull that out and do another. Okay. And then we repeat this with this one also. And now we have to pull gently to close it so we can do this, but I wait until after I've worked into these single crochets before I tighten everything up totally, because if you really reef on them, you can make that single crochet, so it's very hard to work into. And we gotta bring this over. Excuse me. Okay. And this is round 2. And we started out, after round 1, we had 15 stitches total. And here again, I'm doing that thermal stitch, which is not in the pattern. And there's our last stitch right there. And we never work into the last stitch, just why we need to mark it for each round. Okay, now that I've done round 2, now I'm going to pull tightly on each one of these to bring them there. Okay, see, nice and tight now, and you weave in the ends later. Okay, that is the end of round 2. And for each one we've increased 2. So 2 times 3 is 6 more, and so should have 21 stitches, I think. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yep. So each one should have 7, and we should have 21. Okay, so we'll get the new color out here, and we're going to untangle a little bit. It gets a little easier once you're not doing the increase rounds, because you can kind of follow around. There we go. Okay. For this one, it says with a double or 2 double crochets, I'm doing half doubles, but 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next 2 stitches, 2 in the next, 1 in the next, and 2 in the next. So it's, yeah, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we might have to rearrange those a little bit because of the special stitch that I'm doing this in. Okay, so it says 2, and I'm still doing that alternating, what I call a thermal stitch, because it reminds me of thermal blankets that we had when I was a kid. 2, and then okay, it says 1 in the next. Yeah. And here again, we're going to have to do the awkward one on this round. It's no way of getting around it, but it's doable. So, okay. I'm going to move this over, and this one. There we go. That works. Okay. So we have 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2. When I was writing this pattern, I did try to increase the normal way, and it came out looking all wonky. One, 2, 1, and 2. There. And then we repeat it with color C. 2, 1, and back loop for that one, 2, 1, and 2. And before we finish this round, we need to mark the final stitch. Oh, and here's my favorite ones for markers that don't have the thing, but I've got a bunch of them, I just don't know where the rest of them are. So, there we go. Okay, and it says at the end of this round, we should have a total of 30, which means each one of these should be 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And you do count the one that you don't work into for that color. So each one should have 10 and should have 30 now. Okay, for round 4, we're going to move our yarn and bring this one around. Yep, there we go. It says DC, or half double crochet for me, in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochet. You repeat that twice. So 3 increase, 3 increase, and then do a double crochet for the last one. In this one, I think one where I was able to. Okay, that's in the front loop, so this first one's going to be in the back. Oops. Loop is too loopy. Okay, so front, that one, yeah, that one's in the front, so we're going to go into the back for this one. So 1, 2, 3, and then our increase, and we're supposed to repeat that again, but this time we're doing front, back, front. So I'm going to move my increase to here. Because I was supposed to increase in this one and then just do a 1 on the other one. Evens out better this way. It's much easier to do it in the front. Did you see how that makes a nice kind of pebbled effect, but still giving that swirl, which I really like. Okay, we can mark that one. And we might run on a out of safety pins. This is the reason I like safety pins, because they stick to my magnet, and I managed to lose all plastic stitch markers because they don't. I mean, if they all fall out of the bag or something into the bottom of a knitting bag or whatever, I just throw in a magnet and I've got them. Not so with the plastic. It does not work that way. Okay, this was 3, 1, 1. Okay, 1, 2. Come on. I lost my favorite hook. I cannot. I'm working with the 5mm for this hat. And I can't find my favorite one. Okay, then 1, 2. Okay, come on. Alrighty, come on now. This whole skein's been like that. Alright. Whoops, I just moved the thing. Okay. Now I lost track. Two, 3. 1, 2. Okay. And this is where I move the increase over one because it's easier to do front and back and the increase, and then just do 2 singles in the final couple. I'm still doing the same number of increases. I'm just moving them over to make them more convenient for my special stitch. Okay, and there we go. So at the end of this round, we should have 36 total stitches. So we went from 10 of each color to 12 of each color. You know, which isn't following the normal way. But because we started out at the very beginning with 15, I think that's why it 1, 2, 3. Oh. No, 1, 2. That's only 2 of them. I think that's why it didn't work to do the regular, what I call normal increase for a hat. Okay, there's our increase. Okay, and now we'll do 1, 2, and we'll do the increase in this one instead, and follow it with 2. Okay. So that is the end of round 4, and we should have 36 now. And say it's laying flat. So if you work the pattern and you want to do it a different way, you're welcome to, but I did a lot of ripping out in order to get to the point where I had something that worked. So, okay, this is round 5, which is going to take us from 36 to 45. Whoops. I'm going to have to undo that one because I made it so the yarn would move. Okay. There we go. Put it down here. Okay. So you're going to put 2 in the first stitch, 1 in the next 3 stitches. You're going to repeat that 2 times. So 2, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, 1. And then you'll do another increase, and then you do 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to increase by doing front and back, and then do 1. Guess I need to move my ball over. There we go. Increase 1, 1, and 1. Supposed to increase in this one, but I'm going to move it over 1. So there's one of the things, and then I'm going to do the increase in this one. So I've already done one of the. So I need 2 more. And then another increase. Followed by 2 more. Yep, worked out just fine. I'm still doing the same number of increases. I'm just accommodating the special stitch. So okay, this is round 5. Move that over. Okay, so we do the increase. Followed by 3. Because that one's in the front, we're going to do 1 more single and then do the increase. Okay. Come on. Okay. So I did the increase and now I have 2 more. And then the last increase, and then 2 more singles. Okay. And then color C. And let's see here. Let's bring this over. Those 2 guys out of the way. Alrighty. So do our increase. by. We do one extra. So we can do front and back for an increase. And then we do the other two. And then our last increase for this round. And then we have two more. And see, it's laying nice and flat with those increases that way. Okay, so all right, round 6 is will bring us from 45 stitches. There should be 15 in each one. 2, 4, 6. Whoops. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So 45 around should bring us to 54 stitches, which with worsted weight 4 in the US, yarn, and a 4.5 or 5 millimeter hook somewhere in there should give you the size for a child size hat. So, and it brings us to 54. And for demonstration of the variation that I want to do, oh, and I did not okay. There we go. For demonstration of the variation that I want to do, I am going to stop at 54 in order to demonstrate that. Okay, so for this one, you do 2 in the first stitch, 1 in the next 4 stitches. You repeat that twice, and then 2 in the next stitch, and 1 in the next 3 stitches. So we're going to increase, and we can follow our pattern easily. And then in the next 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that works out really nice. So 1 is our increase. And then we do 1, 2, and it's very easy to follow the pattern and not do this thermal stitch. It's just this is the last of the yarn I'm going to have this year that I'm going to be working with cotton, because it is August, and I had these scraps left over, and I wanted to make this particular variation. So, did I do my 4? Where's my increase? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. That was supposed to be my increase there. But I was talking. Okay, and then you're left with 3 more. 2, and 3. So this should bring us to 54 when we're done with this round. Now in a normal hat, once you get to the size that you want, and I mean size not by the measurement, but by the number of, I don't know if, with the glare if you'll be able to read this, but it's on my playing, a link for this hat is on my Playing with Yarn Facebook page. For variations, like if you're using a thicker yarn or you want a smaller hook, I give in, okay, after round 6, round 7, I tell you how many increases and where to make them to get to 60 stitches, 63 stitches, 66 stitches, which would, for most people, 66 stitches would be an adult medium hat. If you want it bigger than the 66 stitches, then you would do one more increase round. This is round 7. To get to these others, you would increase to 66 stitches in 7, and then you would do one of these increases to get to like 72, 75, or 78 stitches. You know, if you were making, you want to make a large hat with thinner yarn and you wanted 78 stitches, this would be how to do it. You would do all of this, all of the rows or rounds we've done. You'd do round 6, round 7, and round 8. And you would increase these different amounts in order to get the different numbers. So it's a very, very adaptable hat. And then once you get to that point on a normal hat, you just keep going around and around and around until you get it to the point where you're either running out of yarn or you are ready to stop and do the band. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and increase, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Another increase, and 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. And again, always leaving the one unworked stitch. So put that in there, and you see how it's laying nice and flat with those increases. And I love doing it with the stitch. It gives it a lot of texture. Makes it, I think, more interesting. Okay. So we do the same with color C. 1, whoops, increase. 1, 2, 3, and and 4. And I usually do count this in my head in order to keep myself on track. And now my increase. 1 increase, and then 1. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now my next increase, followed by 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then your increase. And let's see here. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. This was supposed to be the increase. There. And you should have 3 more after that. So you did 3 increases on each one. That was 9 more. Oops. Oh. I am going to mark this final one because it is important to mark the, especially when you're doing the regular hat where you're just going around in circles. It's very important to mark where the final one of your first color is, because it gives you a guideline to work from. Okay, we need to keep this. Okay, I'm going to pause and make this into part 1, and then we will come back for part 2.